It is the morning sports desk for Tuesday, the 23rd of April. I'm CJ Baumgartner. There is Corey Tackman. Corey, Wolves back. Happy Timberwolves play today day to you.
I am so excited. I'm so excited for this tonight, CJ. I'm so excited, in fact, CJ, that today is National Speak Like Shakespeare Day.
Is it?
Or something along those lines. So I had a whole monologue prepared for you about how excited I was for the Timberwolves game in Game 2 of their Western Conference series with Phoenix. And I thought, well, if I'm going to have a monologue prepared for CJ and it's Speak Like Shakespeare Day, who did monologues better in history than Shakespeare?
Sure.
So I present to you my Timberwolves excitement via William Shakespeare. Are you prepared?
No, but give it to me.
CJ, I am going to the Timberwolves playoff game tonight, and I bethink not I've been this excited for a single game since I was in college, watching Winona State whip through and baffle the Central Climature onto a national championship. I'm so pumped to seeth how the Wolves responded to the impressive Game 1 victory. Are those gents going to be staffed? Are those gents going to receiveth overhyped? Is Phoenix nimble-footed? Art those gents going to throweth haymakers? This has the potential to beest milestone moment for the franchise. Thank you.
I'm surprised you didn't have like the little skull, as you were talking.
I didn't know it was Shakespeare Day until I got to work. Otherwise, I would have brought my skull.
You would have showed up. You would have brought your skull, neither confirm nor deny on the authenticity of said skull, and then also show up with the big poofy dress isn't the right word, but the big poofy getup. You know what I mean? The big Shakespeare.
Yeah, I don't. I may or may not own multiple skulls.
Okay,
but I do not own an ascot.
I think those gents are in for a pretty eventful night, one way or the other.
I would like to reiterate a point I really, really believe.
Okay.
And I will repeat this in my broken, dumb English. This is a franchise potential milestone moment, this game tonight, because they took care of business. What's that?
You doth think so?
I doth think. And there's just so much here, right? Like how are they prepared? Are they going to come out overhyped? Are they going to be underhyped? Is Phoenix going to throw everything they've got to try to even this series up? How are the Timberwolves? I know the Timberwolves won, but how now are they going to respond to the moment of being up 1-0 and being favored, being a 3 seed over a 6 seed, coming in not favored by Vegas? There's just a lot of every new thing with this Timberwolves team and with Ant is it's a new mythological hurdle that needs to be jumped across. And this is one of those milestones that come up in a team's growth. Are they going to, what level are they going to get to? Right. This is one of those games where obviously I want them to win, but if they lose, how did they compete? Were they ready? Phoenix is going to have to throw everything. They cannot go down 0-2. So Phoenix has to come out just flailing in this game. How are the Timberwolves going to respond to that effort? We saw last night the Lakers came out flailing. They threw every single punch that they had. And in the end, Jamal Murray hit a buzzer beater, and the Lakers are down 2-0, and the defending champs are probably going to win in 5 now. I'm just so fascinated to see how they handle this, and I'm so happy for myself that I get to be in the building to watch them, potentially figure this out and cross over this made up threshold that we know exists, but don't know exactly how it exists.
Right. There's so many, not unknowns, but unknowns with this game of how are they going to come out and respond? Because as we've seen with the Timberwolves, whether it's a good team or a bad team, they have the capability to just kind of come out flat in the first half. And that's the case, or a first quarter, I should say, for sure. And that comes with a team whose offense is inconsistent, or whose offense doesn't have that high end potential this season. And they've kind of relied on their defense to rein them back in. And you saw Denver do that. They didn't have a great start to the game, but man, when their defense locked on, they locked in and they were able to hold the Lakers to 99 points. And that's the thing with the Timberwolves. Are they going to get themselves in a hole? Because in the playoffs, you're not guaranteed to jump out of that hole. Like if you're playing Detroit or if you're playing Washington, you're not guaranteed to get out of there. So how they start this game is going to be huge. And especially because Chris Finch alluded to it, Corey, on Paul Allen's radio show yesterday, he expects Phoenix to come out fast. Not necessarily, we always say punch them in the mouth. We always think like, oh, that means that they're going to like come out physical and they're going to like push and shove. No, I think like when they mean
punch, they're going to do, by the way.
They will do. But I think in this case specifically, they're going to try and go in transition a lot. They're going to try and play quick. They're going to try and get the Wolves into space and try and don't let their defense get set up and try and do things like that early in the game. And how well the Timberwolves respond to that will be interesting, because keep in mind that this team, I mean, what was it? The big quote from assistant coach Mike Nori before game one to Bally was, it's like, they caught us last week, but they caught us on the beach without sunblock or something like that. We have sunblock today, pun intended. And the Wolves basically kind of admitting like the Wolves didn't throw the kitchen sink at Phoenix in that final game of the season, because they're like, we can very well play them. So why throw the kitchen sink at them now? Let's wait and see what we can do in the playoffs. Well, now that game is done. And how are those adjustments going to be made from game one to game two for both teams? That'll be the most fascinating part to me. And Anthony Edwards is the key to this, because as much as Anthony Edwards has the potential to have 30 plus points in a playoff game and jaw at Kevin Durant and like just be the man, he'll have a game where you go into the fourth quarter and all of a sudden he's got 10 points and he'll finish with 15. So that's also on the table. There's just a lot of unknowns in this.
And he potentially woke up a sleeping giant in KD with the smack talk. Now, I'm not saying don't smack talk. He should have done everything that I have no issue with any of it.
It's himself. Have fun.
It's fine. There was nothing egregious about it. What I'm saying is KD's going straight to the Hall of Fame when his career is over with. And he's probably like a top 15 player of all time. And that may have been the thing that he needed in a game two where his team needs it most, to be like, I'm scoring 46 tonight and there's nothing anybody can do. Like that is on the table. So it's one of those unknowns. How are the Timberwolves prepared to deal with a KD scoring 46? Because you can still win that game. The Timberwolves can still win a game where KD drops 46.
Right.
Make sure Booker scores under 20.
Let Jayden McDaniels lock him up.
So it's just going to be really fun. It's going to be a really fun atmosphere. I was talking with Jared outside a little earlier, and he said, he asked me, have you been to a playoff game before? And I was like, well, the Timberwolves have had like 16 of them in their entire franchise. So no. And he goes, no, any. And I have been to a few Twins playoff games in my life, a handful of them in the Dome. And it's an unbelievable experience. I've never been to any Viking stuff, playoff stuff, but I've certainly never been in that arena for a Timberwolves game. And I can only imagine how unbelievable it's going to be 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever, before opening tip. It's going to be a zoo.
Well, from somebody who went to the Twins playoff games last fall, it's a vibe. And it's fun when you get there early and you can, first of all, people are waiting in line for miles. So there's just a buzz about getting in. But then once you get in and you get in early and you kind of feel more people start to show up, and even like just the pregame things where they'll cut the camera to Ant as he takes a shot, just to kind of get the crowd into it. And you can feel like it's just, everything is just a little bit more. than normal. So like when I went to the Twins game, it was like Pablo Lopez was walking from the foul line to the bullpen to go finish his warm-up, and they just kind of put the camera on him and just said, "Hey, your game one starter, Pablo Lopez," and everybody like freaked out.
Yeah.
You could just feel the juice was like, normally you just kind of hear like but this was like an audible like applause.
Everyone's focused on one thing, and it's the game. It's cool.
Right. It's awesome. And also the Target Center's opened up that upper bowl completely, which means that more people than have been into the Target Center in a very long time.
Oh, yeah. And that's where I'm going to be. I'm going to be this is what it sounds like. It was described to me as nosebleeds. I don't know exactly what that means.
First person to sit in that exact seat since 2005.
Hopefully. Would that be cool?
Yeah.
Take that seat home with me.
Well, this is the thing with the Wolves playoff atmospheres. We've kind of talked about the game one and they get up for these big games. Do you think that there's a chance that, I mean, there's always a chance that they could do it, but like, is it more likely than not that the Wolves maybe get a little too hyped for this game, or maybe are feeling themselves a little bit too much after game one? Or do you think like this is their third year in the playoffs? Like, remember they came out strong and beat a Memphis team that they shouldn't have on the road early, and like they kind of know it? Or is it still like, I don't know, I kind of need to see them take care of business before you assume they're going to do that?
I that's a tough one because the reason the Timberwolves lose, I think, is because they are overhyped, because they come out overhyped and it's a little, sloppy. It's a little loose. And they just don't prepare. They're just not like, when moments get big, people's brains go like this. They go in or they go out. Mm-hmm. And on Saturday they were in, and in the process of going in, sometimes you start to overlap and those line. So there's a chance that's the possibility. So if they lose, it's because they'll start that way. It's not that they won't like rein it in. Yeah. It'll be a combination of them just being like, so you'll be able to just see it. Their shoulders are going to be up. They're going to be, there's going to be, chest thumping after just like a fast break layup. They're going to go up 6-0 to start the game. And everyone's just going to go, oh my God, it's over.
Like 9-0, 10-0. Like,
and it's going to be, there's just going to be so much game left, and there's so much series left. And KD's been there. Booker has been there. Like, this Bradley Beal's never been there. But like there's an establishment with that Phoenix team that I don't think they're going to be overwhelmed. Now, I think you have to even take it all the way to the fourth quarter. But with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, you're going to know.
Yeah.
And it might be, one of those teams might be down by 17 all game long, but by that 10-minute mark in the fourth quarter is about when you should feel like this is happening or this isn't happening,
Yeah, I think that's I agree with you on that one. So Corey will be going to the Wolves game tonight. So if you see a guy a fall out of the second deck because he had, how many are you allowed to have? How many beers are you allowed to have at the game? Like 5, 4? Much as you can carry?
I might not have any, but I might have one.
You'll have you go to
We're going out to eat. We're going out to eat beforehand. So right. I have a long drive home.
So if you see a guy
late drive home,
you won't be gluing your hand to the court.
I will not be gluing my hand to the court, and because of that drive, even like I'll have a choice. Really, I'll have a choice to make, and that choice will be have 6 beers and know that I can't drive, or have one and just be so tired and drive home. You ever do this drive home where you got your headrest up? Mm-hmm. Well, you don't wear glasses, but I wear glasses, and you put your glasses on the tip of your nose. And you set the cruise and you put your head up against the headrest and you just drive home like this.
No,
it's like a 3-hour drive, and it's in the middle of the night, and you're just like, I'm awake and I'm fine. But if I'm ever not fine, it's because I'm going to fall asleep.
If a deer comes out in the middle of the road, that thing's getting smacked.
Yeah, I mean, if everything is perfect because it's 2 a.m, then fine. Everything will be perfect. But if things get out of whack, I'm just gonna I'm not checking blind spots. There's nobody on the road. It's just me and whatever wild animals want to run in front of me. That's it. And we'll deal with that when it happens.
If you hit one, it'll wake you up. So that's the good thing.
It sure would.
So let's spin back locally here for a second. There's a story brought to our desk of the morning sports desk from Kyle Gelsine over at KWAD, friend of the podcast. And it talks about this is a story from the Sabika Menahga paper, the Review Messenger here, talking about Menahga High School graduate Tyler Shepersky, who recently appeared on NHL Now and also appeared on MLB Network, Corey.
Whoa, no kidding.
Yeah, he was doing it to because now he's a spokesperson for Challenged Athletes Foundation. And he just kind of went on to talk about some of the things that organization is doing. He graduated Menahga in 2022 and is aspiring 2026 USA Paralympic sled hockey team member. He recently appeared as a guest speaker on MLB Network and NHL Network, presenting the Challenge Athletes Foundation, which is a 30-year-old organization to provide opportunities and support for people with disabilities so they can pursue activities, lifestyles, physical fitness, and competitive athletics. And it kind of, this article goes on more to talk about the organization and all that. So go read that article in the Sabika Menahga paper, is in last week's paper. Go do that. But what a cool story.
Very cool. Congratulations. I will always just be impressed. I'm going to understate this a little bit, but I'll always be impressed by anyone who does anything, because turns out it's hard. It's hard to do anything that, like, most of us don't do anything, right? Like, you and I are sitting talking to each other right now, hoping that the Shakespeare thing appealed to 2 people. We're not doing anything. Right. And he gets to do something and be recognized. I know I'm understating that, but it's cool. It's cool. I think it's good motivation for the rest of us to, to be useful and to be helpful and to live your life with a little bit of a purpose. You know what I mean? I don't often. So it's nice to get a reminder that some people are, and some of those people live around here and they're us. And you know what I mean? I don't know, man. I love it for a lot of different reasons, especially for him.
A proud one of us moment is what Corey's trying to say.
I guess.
Minnesota. That's what we're trying to say. # one of us. And I think, obviously, it's just a great thing to get to go on national TV and get to promote this, and obviously get a chance to, obviously it says aspiring, so there's nothing's guaranteed, but just even the chance of being on the USA Paralympic sled hockey team in 2026, that's pretty darn cool to get to be considered to be on an Olympic team like that. That's awesome. And to get to have somebody locally do that and go, hey, I know where that guy, what town that guy lived in, and to get to see that, it's really, really cool. So awesome job for him. And obviously, the community of Menahga can take credit for a little bit of that as well, just because if you hear stuff about Menahga and the things they do for their athletic program, but then you also see some of that Paralympic activities and the adapted and Special Olympics basketball and other things like that Menahga does as well as traditional athletics. It's just really cool to see schools and communities invest in that, and then getting to see somebody like Shepersky get to do that and try and take that to the next level, which is really awesome.
There's a phrase that I think oftentimes people roll their eyes at, because it's irrelevant until the exact moment that it becomes true for you. And that is, the phrase is representation matters. And I used to be a person who rolled my eyes at that until something like the Olympics comes along. And you're like, think about how much Minnesotans love those goofballs from Duluth and Hermantown and whoever on the curling team.
Oh yeah, Team Schuster. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you think representation doesn't matter until someone is representing your state at the Olympics. And you're like, oh yeah, or it's just your country. You're like, I'm cheering for the American because screw the Jamaicans. You know what I mean? You don't think it matters until all of a sudden you're looking at your TV and you're like, that matters to me. So this is like to have the hyper specific representation matters, and it's Menahga who is being represented, and you're like, that's St. Urho. That's Spirit Lake. That's the we go to the beach. We've been in that school. We go into the like. It just matters a whole lot and a deeper meaning, kind of in a deeper meaning for everyone involved. Let alone the guy who's actually doing it.
Right. Well, props to him. Props to everybody involved. Again, that's in the Review Messenger, the Speak of Menahga paper. So go read that story. It was from the April 17th issue. So go read that because pretty darn cool. Corey, let's move on and talk a little Twins baseball. Not a ton really to mention. They got Max Kepler back, and I said on social media yesterday, why are we so excited about that? He wasn't really hitting before he went on the IL anyways. And Max Kepler, for the second year in a row, said, I'm going to make you, specifically CJ, look like an idiot. And his first at-bat, he had a 2 RBI double. And then in his second at-bat, had an RBI single. The Twins beat the White Sox 7-0, as they should have. Chris Paddock gave 7 shutout innings, 10 strikeouts in the win. And there's really not much else to take away other than Max Kepler once again makes me look foolish, which isn't that hard to do, but still needs to be pointed out.
He got you, and yesterday on this very program, I said, I mean, they're getting Max Kepler back, which is nice to have a pro in the lineup, but it's not like he's going to be the savior for your offense. I know. I saw it. I was scrolling through Twitter yesterday, and it was just good to have you back, buddy. And it's him lacing a ball out into the outfield. And then three scrolls later, hey, Kepler gets another one. I look like an idiot. I'm such an idiot.
Oh,
nothing.
Come on. So the Twins beat the White Sox 7-0, which again isn't that hard because the White Sox, the White Sox have 3 wins all season long. They're 3-19, 3-20, something
that's
like that.
Bad.
Worst start in franchise history for over 100-year-old organization.
Is it? That's got to be close to the worst start in
like American League
baseball history.
Yeah, it's getting pretty dicey for them. They have 3 wins throughout the season. You want to know how many times that they have been shut out in a complete 9-inning ball game this year?
Say their full record again.
They're like 3-20.
Are half of their losses shutouts?
8.
Gross.
8.
They stink.
That's a major league record, by the way. No team has gotten shut out. They're 3-18 because no team has been shut out, or 3-19. No team has been shut out 8 times in the first 22 games. That's a league history.
Probably the rest of the Central doesn't have 8 combined shutout losses.
No, I think the rest of baseball has combined as 15.
Is what's his face still playing for Chicago? What's their shortstop's name?
Tim Anderson. No, he's with the Marlins, who are equally bad.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good for him, I guess.
That Miami infield of Tim Anderson, Nick Gordon, and Luis Ariz. Really,
Paul Konerko still playing first base?
I mean, he might as well. He can't be much worse than who they have.
He would 100% be better.
The best part about the White Sox collapse is they have the studio show that they kick it out to, and Ozzie Guillen is the analyst on the panel. And he's just, it just looks like he wants to curl up in a hole and go away forever watching some of this bad baseball. Guy
was a good manager. He was a clown. He was a bit of a clown show, but he took all the heat off of everyone else.
Right. He was
being a clown show.
Him instead of the team. Yeah. Ozzie Guillen, still there. again, still might need to manage this team. And the other thing is, obviously, they're slashing payroll. It's a new person in charge. I showed you this last week, Corey.
The owner's the same.
Oh, yeah, owner's the same, which is the heart of this thing. Because they hired a new GM who was in-house, and they promoted their head of player development. And the problem with the White Sox struggling since winning the division in 2021 is that their players didn't develop. And they said, that guy should run our whole team. And AJ Pierzynski was on his podcast, and he basically is like, talked about his grievances with Chris Getz, that's the White Sox GM. Like, why is he the head of player development? Like, or why do we hire that guy to run the show? Why do we promote internally? He's like, and that's why they don't ask me to be that's why I'm no longer helping out with the organization anymore. Mm-hmm. He's like, what are we doing? AJ Pierzynski, World Series hero for them. And he's like, guys, what are we doing here? And they asked him to get out of the building. So great job.
It's not, I mean, he probably gets treated better by the Twins than he does the White Sox. And he had a significantly more impactful career with the White Sox than he did with the Twins.
Right. And the cherry on top of all of this with the heck, he probably got treated better by the Giants than what the White Sox are doing right now.
Definitely.
The cherry on top of all this for the White Sox, then we'll move on because the Twins got to play them 3 more times, so they could very well lose all 3. And if that's the case, then pack up the season. But the cherry on top of all of this with the White Sox is that per MLB's new anti-tanking rules with the draft lottery, since the White Sox got a top 5 pick this year, they are not eligible to get a top 10 pick this year. So they're going to have a 110 loss team, and they're going to get the number 11th pick.
Now I need to look it up. I think the Cleveland Spiders are the all-time worst team.
I think the Detroit Tigers are the worst American League team.
Yeah, and it's like the Spiders goes back to pre-modern baseball,
World War II, you kind of stuff.
Yeah. Worst baseball record ever.
I'm curious to see what this winds up being.
Well, there's a Wikipedia page dedicated to a list of the worst Major League Baseball season win-loss records.
There we go.
The Cleveland Spiders were 20-134 for a 130 win percentage.
It's on the table.
That's pretty gross. But that was in 1899, right? So modern era, the worst is that's from 1901 to present.
Yep.
The 1916 Philadelphia Athletics, which were an American League team, were 36-117, 235 win percentage. The most recent team on that list is the 2003 Detroit Tigers, who were 43-119.
They're going to get close.
They must be ahead of pace, right?
I mean, how many 49 wins over a 6-month season? That's they have 3 wins in a month.
Right. How many months are in the season?
It starts in April, basically. April, May, June, July, August, September. 6? That's 6 months. It's a 6-month season.
So they're on pace for 18 wins.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
That's not good, CJ.
The Philadelphia Phillies had a 1st and 3rd situation in the 1st inning, and they pulled off a play that if a high school team does it, coaches get mad at the team, which is they had the guy steal second, get caught in the rundown, and the White Sox tried to throw home, and the runner scored, and Harper slid into second base. And if that happens in a high school team, your coach is chewing your team out for playing that poorly. And these guys get paid to play baseball. They're not good.
If my math is correct, they're right now on a 22 win pace.
Nice. Okay.
They're 3-19.
Yeah.
So they have 3 wins in 22 games. Yeah, they're on pace for 22 wins in 162 game season.
They have a 136 winning percentage.
All right, let's go back to the list. That would be the worst in modern era by a million miles, right?
Uh-huh.
That Philadelphia Athletics team had 36 wins.
Right.
14 games worth. That Cleveland Spiders team had 20 wins with a 130 win percentage.
Yeah.
So this would be the second. You said a 136 winning percentage.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be the second worst all time.
All right, perfect. Go White Sox, go.
White Sox, go.
It just couldn't have happened to a better team, better organization, better owner, better fans.
They've always been my least favorite franchise. Always.
Mm-hmm.
Always. Yeah, but what about the Yankees? Who cares?
We don't play them all the time.
They're in the eat. Let them eat over there in the Eastern. I don't care. The White Sox stink.
They stink. Jayden Daniels.
Screw you, Juan Uribe. All right, there. I got it off my chest. Sorry.
All right, obligatory. Moving into the NFL, Jayden Daniels, potential number 2 overall pick, although maybe not. Nothing's ever for sure with the NFL draft. So let's go into the Jayden Daniels scouting report as we kind of take a look at all the potential quarterbacks in that the Vikings have available to them, or could be available if they trade up. All right. Obviously, Jayden Daniels, the Heisman winner out of LSU, 6'4", 210. And his positives are elite athleticism, excellent burst, agility, and speed for the position. Above average pocket toughness, above average process within the pocket, ties his feet to his eyes to remain in a throwing position late in the progression, good ability to create, dangerous runner with sparse flashes of creativity as a thrower outside of the pocket. Very good deep ball accuracy, consistently drops it in the bucket. Negatives: skinny frame with a reckless abandon as a ball carrier, opens himself up to future injury. Mediocre velocity, can sometimes struggle driving the ball into tight windows. Inconsistent accuracy on the short and intermediate areas, especially if not throwing on time. He would be, when the NFL season starts, Corey, 23 years old. Originally started his career at Arizona State before transferring to LSU in 2022. What are your thoughts overall on Jayden Daniels?
If you were to ask me to rank the top three,
Uh-huh.
I would rank them Caleb Williams, then Drake May, then Jayden Daniels.
Yeah.
That is based, of course, on my years and years and years of NFL scouting and research.
You were grinding tape last night just for this.
Yes, I've spent years in the industry at protecting the shield, as they would say.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't like most about him is he's listed as 210 pounds.
He might have been soaking wet for that.
He's not 210 pounds. He is Kyler Murray. He's not as explosive as Kyler Murray, but like physically, you know what I mean? He's
right.
Clearly, he's taller than Kyler, but he's so little that there's just no way he's not going to get hurt. Kyler runs with a reckless abandon, and he eventually gets spun down in a way that he gets injured.
Right.
And you can't assume health or not health for anyone. But when it comes to in the Vikings situation of moving up like crazy to get somebody, I would be more hesitant to move up like crazy for Jayden Daniels because of his build.
Right.
Like he's going to get creamed. And when he doesn't care about getting destroyed, there's this happy medium, right? We all wanted Kirk Cousins to run just a little bit more, but he wouldn't. He'd throw the ball away, or he would stick in for a little too long and to make the throw. Daniels is going to take off and run when the moment presents itself, and he's not gonna slide. He's gonna get lit up, and then he's just not going to be your quarterback for a while. And right. The point of having Jayden Daniels on your roster, I almost called him Jaden McDaniels. The point of having Jayden Daniels on your roster is for him to be your quarterback.
Right.
Is that too simple of a way to break this down? I want to draft a guy to be my quarterback, and so he can play quarterback. I don't want to draft a guy to be my quarterback for him to not be quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the thing with Kyler Murray too is Kyler Murray is 207 pounds, but he's 5'10". Jayden Daniels is like 210 pounds, but he's 6'4".
He's a half a foot taller. Right.
Right. It's spread out more. And it's not even outside of the pocket where he does take a lot of licks. It's even inside the pocket. He'll take some shots. He doesn't know how to protect. The thing about Tom Brady and even Kirk Cousins that protected them from not getting hurt all the time, and Peyton Manning as well, just knowing when to go down if you can't move.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing with the quarterbacks that know how to move is they don't know when to, and they're great athletes, is they don't know when to quit. There's like a 90-second long highlight tape of Jayden Daniels getting smacked, and it's Looney Tunes sound effects. It's like the like with the caption, this guy's going to get some GM fired, because he's a very talented. He's a Heisman winner. He's great. But again, in the NFL, we saw with Jaren Hall, and not a one-to-one comparison, but Jaren Hall tried to rush to the goal line in Atlanta because in college, he's like, I can beat that guy. I can lower the shoulder and muscle my way in.
Yeah.
He tried, got smacked, and he was out with a concussion for a month.
Yep.
And there goes the Jaren Hall insanity run. And that's the thing with Jayden Daniels, is you're just opening up to him getting smacked, and either he gets hurt or worse. Now he's just lingering on that. I got my bell rung. I don't want to do that again. And then he approaches that differently. So, I mean, maybe that can be coached, and obviously he can put on some weight and he can do whatever. But man, if you give me Drake May or Jayden Daniels, I'll take Drake May. Now, that being said, if the Vikings draft Jayden Daniels, I can get all in.
Well, that's the follow-up question to all of this is, okay, let's say Drake May goes 2 and the Vikings want to get up to 3 for Jayden Daniels. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. I think you can make that work. And I think the mobility aspect of a Kevin O'Connell offense would be really fascinating to see, because I know Josh Dobbs was there, but like the offense was still built for Kirk, and Josh Dobbs is he's a career journey.
Josh Dobbs is Josh Dobbs.
Right. Like the talent level is not the same. So to get to see KOC have a whole summer to fit his offense around a mobile quarterback and somebody you can take off and scramble, that's fascinating. And that'd be really fun to see. And especially with Justin Jefferson being able to throw the football, and then you have Aaron Jones in the backfield to try and help out that run game.
I forgot about Aaron Jones. That's cool.
Kind of forget that a multi-time All-Pro is in the backfield.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that helps out. But overall, I think that's it. I think would I trade up specifically for Jayden Daniels? That part, I'm still a little iffy on. Like, I think if the Vikings trade up and got him, I don't think I'd be upset. But if I was Kwesi and Drake May is not available at 3, I think at that point, I'm just more inclined to sit back and see who's there at 11.
Okay, so, all right. This is interesting because I think it sounds like you and I differ on this a little bit. Your choices are Jayden Daniels or JJ McCarthy. What are you picking?
Okay.
Who are you picking?
Trade, like, if the Vikings trade up and I have to choose between the two, or like,
yeah, because it sounds like you have Caleb Williams as absolutely number 1 and Drake May is absolutely number 2. Is Jayden absolutely number 3?
He's absolutely number 3.
So there's a sizable gap still between Jayden and JJ.
Yes, I think tier 1 is Caleb Williams, tier 2 is May and Daniels, tier 3 is McCarthy, tier 4 is Nick Penix.
So okay, so
on the conventional wisdom, although I think I'm starting to warm up on Michael Penix.
Okay, but I'm working something out in my head. I'm fine with Penix, by the way, and we'll talk about him later.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
No, but yesterday you said you would absolutely move up to number 3 to get Drake May, and you just put Jayden Daniels on the same tier. Would you absolutely move up to number 3 for Jayden Daniels?
I mean,
because your hesitation is like you probably wouldn't.
Because part of me feels like a lot of the McDaniel, I did it too. The Jayden Daniels hype, Wolves on the brain. The Daniels hype is a lot of draft prospects. There's a good chance that, I know people talk about Washington taking Daniels. There's a good chance Washington just takes May. And like that whole thing was a smokescreen all the time long of like trying to throw people off the scent of Drake May. It might be like like the media might be just talking up Daniels. So that's my thing, is I'm hesitant because Daniels is a playmaker. I'm just worried about him getting hurt. And if you trade the farm for a guy that gets hurt, and then you have a whole season of Darnold anyways, and now you don't even have a top pick, not to draft another quarterback, but to at least supplement the team, and then that pick just goes to another team, that's where I'd be a little more concerned. I do it, but I wouldn't be I'm not as sure about it as I am for Drake May.
Even if the chances of Drake May getting hurt are probably just as good because he's a rookie, and
Right.
I know he's bigger, but him getting his bell rung once or twice seems inevitable. You know what I mean?
For sure, yeah. Daniels, I think, just has a higher chance, as we've seen on tape.
Yeah, and I agree because of his slightness. I was just interested in that because, like I said, you said they're on the same tier, but you would absolutely move up for May, but you wouldn't. Okay, how about you move it one spot? Would you move up to 4 for Daniel? Like, how far would you move up to get Daniel if he was available? Daniels.
Well, it depends, because I think that would imply that he gets past the Patriots at 3. And like, let's say that May goes 2, McCarthy goes 3, or either one in that order. I think, yes, you would trade up, but that's only because like he's kind of slipping down, and the price to move up, I don't think is as much at 3 as it is at 4, because the Patriots also want a quarterback. The Cardinals don't. So right. The Patriots you're going to need to outspend the Patriots because they also need a quarterback. So you need to justify them not taking a quarterback so you can get yours. The tax is going to be higher. Whereas the Cardinals, you're still going to have to pay a lot, but the price isn't as much. I'm more comfortable with that. Yeah.
Interesting. Cool.
This has been the Morning Sports Desk for Tuesday, the 23rd of April.